Fanatec has lost control to the Fanatec Rebel Alliance. I'm not even making this up. I've been covering Fanatec for months and months and months, flown over there. This is one of the weirdest things going on with Fanatec right now. I'm going to let you know what the Fanatec Rebel Alliance is, but also a very weird investor statement from Fanatec that I'm really not sure how it adds up. Basically, Fanatec is, well, we're going to get into it, but it casts doubts on some stuff we were told that was meant to be true. What is the Fanatec Rebel Alliance? What's been going on? Fanatec's official Facebook page was hijacked. It had this post, so someone's come from the inside. It seems like maybe an employee at Fanatec, someone responsible for social media, has had enough of the Fanatec, everything you know that's been going on Fanatec, and they've joined the Rebel Alliance. They issued this statement. The Fanatec Rebel Alliance announces that from today, this Facebook page is no longer managed or under control of the management of Endor AG. That's Fanatec. Endor's also a planet from Star Wars, Fanatec Rebel Alliance, you get all this kind of stuff, and does not represent the opinions of the current executive board. So again, if this is an employee, the employee saying that the employees of Fanatec don't accept what the executive board is doing, this channel is now a private fan page around Fanatec and sim racing. And it goes on to various stuff. We will raise a lot of questions about what was going on from 2022. That's before I was even really covering this stuff. And how this company is about to be kidnapped by a big American corporation with the help of billion-dollar hedge funds. I've noticed, by the way, when I've been making videos on Fanatec, some of my videos have received a lot of hate. Like hate with like a lot of likes under the comments, and they always spell hedge funds with an O. It's very weird, but it's been spelled the same way here. And banks, despite being successful and profitable. So if you've been living under a rock, you won't know what's been going on with Fanatec. Basically, Fanatec was a massively profitable company. It was the leader in sim racing. They had some issues with Black Friday orders, but it seemed to be they were struggling to deliver orders that had been made, so it's kind of like a good problem to have. I flew over, interviewed their CEO. He said they're going to make some changes, get new customer service people in, everything, blah, 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 it's going to be fine. A few weeks later, he's fired from his own company. He's replaced, and everyone is afraid that Fanatec is going to get sold to hedge funds. In the end, I said this probably not, but it gets sold to Corsair. So it's been bought by Corsair. That's in the process going on. And all of the Fanatec shareholders are basically going to lose all of their shares, as I understand it. So you've got shareholders who are trying everything under the curtain, behind the curtain, to try and make sure this doesn't happen. Okay, so Corsair are taking over Fanatec. People who have Fanatec shares and employees don't seem to be happy. Fanatec Rebel Alliance. Now, what's the really weird thing? I want to go through something very, very weird. Because the timeline I've just explained, Fanatec was not profitable in 2023. They made some losses for chip impairment. They had other fulfillment issues. And the EBITDA was negative. So Fanatec was not profitable. When I go and interview the CEO, the day after, the board issue a statement saying Fanatec is going to be going back to being quite profitable. Okay. And then after that, after the board says Fanatec can be profitable, the board then used bankruptcy laws to replace Thomas Giacomeyer, the CEO. So on the one hand, Fanatec is going back to profitability. On the other hand, Fanatec is bankrupt, which is using bankruptcy laws. So what is it? They've issued a statement over the weekend as I make this. Again, you're not going to get this on the Fanatec Twitter page or whatnot. You have to come over here, which is why you're subscribed, why you're watching this video. You're very well informed. And they've published their financial figures for the first 3 months of 2024. And get this, in the first 3 months of 2024, this includes January when I flew over, did the interview. This includes March when Giacomeyer was fired. And this includes April, May when the hedge funds thing in Corsair. So all that drama basically in the first 3 months, their revenues were 30 million euros. And that's compared to 17.3 million in the first 3 months of last year. That means Fanatec is still bringing in well over 100 million euros of revenue a year, which is crazy, crazy, crazy high when you think the company is going to be basically sold to Corsair for nothing, although Corsair will be taking on the liabilities like the bank loans. There's some explanation about why this has changed, but you can see here that the EBITDA, which is sort of like it's an accounting thing, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, is 1.2 million in the first quarter. So Fanatec is basically back to being profitable. So Fanatec is back. Does it need to be sold? And you can see Andres Ruff, who's the new CEO and Chief Restructuring Officer of Endor. So he replaced Thomas Jackemeyer. Again, the shareholders think he's sort of the cuckoo in the nest, trying to sell it to the hedge funds. Endor is operationally back on a good restructuring path with a balanced product mix and already implemented measures to improve the cost structure. Why do they need to sell the company? Why does Thomas Jackemeyer need to lose all of his shares? It doesn't make sense here. Endor AG is to be restructured due to impending insolvency, but it's back to being profitable. Outside of insolvency proceedings under Starrag, as part of this restructuring, an investor has been found in Corsair who will fully take over Endor. It's interesting that they don't say Endor AG as they say everywhere else. It's almost like they're not really checking this properly, and provide sufficient financial resources to stabilise the company without external debt. It does seem unusual. Yes, there are bank loans, and the bank loans need to be paid by the end of June. If you remember, I've been reporting on this about the standstill agreement that's been pushed forward to the end of June. But it seems to me any logical bank would be like, you know what, the company's going back to being profitable. We'll extend the term. We've changed the CEO. We're going to get our money back. But is this actually a coup? Is it actually Corsair getting this business for cheap? And is Andres Ruff is this the right thing to do? You can see here that the forecast for 2024, so for this fiscal year, has been adjusted. They've expected it to be between 105 and 115 million. That's the group revenue. So that's a 10 million decrease, but it's 10 million euros. It's kind of, I don't know. The reason for this adjustment is a noticeable customer reluctance to purchase since the beginning of the second quarter. I've been blamed for this. I've had a lot of heat. I've had people saying Fanatec's going down because you've made videos saying Fanatec's in financial trouble. Fanatec does seem to be in financial trouble, and stuff is going on that doesn't make sense. I'm a journalist reporting on this. It's up to you what you want to buy. I'm not here recommending other products or Fanatec products. I'm not recommending Fanatec products. It's giving you the information on Fanatec, the company. So I would say, with respect, it's their fault they're in this situation. And to be honest, I hope Fanatec improves the situation. I hope Fanatec goes back to being a leading light in sim racing. But you can see here, they're saying customers are not purchasing. And the management board expects to continue this in the second or third quarter of 2024. So they think consumers are not going to come back and purchase as much from Fanatec. And this probably explains a lot of the negative comments I've had on my videos. I've even been banned from the Fanatec owners group on Facebook. And I'm a Fanatec owner, I'm just reporting on it. Because it's an inconvenient truth to people who, have shares in Fanatec or whatnot. So there's been lots of stuff going on behind the scenes, but you bet me I'm going to carry on reporting on this. Thank you for your support if you're subscribed, liking the videos as well. The EBITDA forecast was also withdrawn due to the anticipated special effects from the planned bankruptcy process. So it's almost like they're not projecting now what's going on. Now I want to have a look here at the quarterly report. So I'm going to open this up. Financial reports 2024 quarterly statement. This is available, and you can see there's some more detail here talking about the revenues, the products, the operating expenses increasing. That might be because customer service, personnel increasing, both number of employees and expenses on personnel, and talking about some cost of doing business increasing. A balance sheet, oh my goodness, a balance sheet and cash flow statement for the first quarter of 2024 cannot be published due to extensive corrections required in the accounting of the 2023 financial year. I thought they were meant to be audited results. What's going on here then? So they expect the values to be available by the next quarterly period. It is all going absolutely crazy. Oh my goodness, here we go. In the first quarter of 2024, Endor entered negotiations with lending banks regarding a standstill. As part of this, the board resolved on March 28 to dismiss Thomas Jackemeyer. This fulfilled a key condition set by the lending banks. We know that Andreas Ruff was appointed as CEO and CRO. He's now responsible. We know that. They looked at Starrag. We know that. And then they agreed with the consent of the banks on interim financing by Corsair, and they're going to be restructured. Endor currently has about 70 million in debt, so is anticipated to make about 110 million euros in revenue this year, but it's 70 million in debt. How do they get in that much debt? Unless it's very stable debt is a big question. There's a partial waiver by the banks and a complete capital reduction. If you're not a business person or capital markets person, you might not know what complete capital reduction is. That's why we're seeing so much weird stuff online, which shareholders are going to lose everything. So they may as well try everything they can to stop this happening. And here is the management board: Andres Ruff, Mateusz Koch, Daniel Mayberg and Belma Nadarevich. They are the management board on one side, and now you have Thomas Jackemeyer on the other side, and the war still goes on. What's going to be Thomas Jackemeyer's next move? I'm going to find out for you and let you know. But very weird situation with Fanatec that I want to report on. Absolutely insane. Let me know what you think in the comments and what you want me to focus on. I will see you next time.